I'm going to show you how to make half square triangles 8 at a time. The first thing that you're going to need is a pen or pencil. This is a friction pen, which is absolutely brilliant because it will only disappear with any type of heat. So whether that is a iron or the heat of a car, because yes, that has happened to me. Any source of heat, this pen will disappear, but you can also use a pencil for your marking. The second thing that you're going to need is your ruler. I love using the creative grade rulers because they are clear and they've got the nice thin black lines. So that way you can see through the fabric just to make sure that everything is super precise. Your fabric. And then last but certainly not least is our large square, which is how we are going to get our half square triangles from. So the first thing that we're going to do is taking our creative grids ruler from our point, which is literally right here. We are going to draw a line 1/4 of an inch away. When we draw our line 1/4 of an inch away, this is going to be our sew line. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it. What I typically do is I'll start 3 or 4 inches up, and then I always work my way back down. When I'm first starting down here, I'm just giving it a little bit extra because I want to make sure that when I sit down to sew, it's actually visible. So then we're going to flip it around, and then we're going to do the exact same process again, but to the opposite side. So again, taking our creative grids ruler, and we are going to draw a line 1/4 of an inch away. If you're unsure you're getting that 1/4 of an inch away correct or not, you can always triple check yourself by using the line right here, which is your 1/2 of an inch from where we just drew our line to where the 1/4 is here at the end. This is going to be a 1/2 of an inch from point A to point B. So just in case if you want to just triple check, but we've got our point here. We've got our point down here. So here we go. Again, I'm starting 3 inches in, and then I'm just going right towards the tip. And again, going all the way down, just giving it a little bit extra on the edge. Voila. So we're going to do this exact step again, but to the opposite side. So we're going to take our ruler. We're lining our point to point. So we're going all the way down to the other side, all the way up. We're then making sure that it's 1/4. We are drawing a nice thick line here. Well, not a nice thick line, just a nice line, because we're using a pen, so we really can't make it too anyways. Okay, so again, this is our final step here before we put our fabric back together again. We've got our point here. We are drawing a line 1/4 of an inch away. Bada bing, bada boo. We've got our sew line 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how we know we're going to sew. And then what we need to do is we need to take our main fabric, so of course right sides together, so that's gonna go up here, and then we're gonna put our square that we just drew our sew lines on. So I'm going to pin this on all 4 corners because nothing is worse than when you get ready to sew and then it shifts on you. I am a super pinner. So we've got our 4 pins here. When we sew, we're going to sew of course on our solid lines here. Okay, so now that we have our sew lines sewn on our square, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 for our sew lines. Next, we are going to cut out our half square triangle. So using our rotary mat, our rotary ruler, and of course our fancy rotary cutter, we are going to go ahead, cut out this entire block. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to line up our edge here. It doesn't necessarily matter where on the ruler, but we're just going to make sure that we've got a nice straight black line here, and then right here that it is lined up as well. So we just have our 2 seam lines right there. We're going to set this right to the side. We're then going to bring our other half of the square together. Then again, we're going to do that same process again, where we are lining up our black line here, and then we are just making sure that that is a nice straight line as well. And we are rotary cutting right along that seam line. So then again, we're going to take our rotary cutter and we're just going to go 1/4 of an inch away from our seam line. And then once we have our, look at this, we've got our half square triangles. We are just going to kind of toss them to the side to get ready to iron, but we need to keep cutting out our block. So again, we're putting this black line here right on the seam line so that we cut 1/4 of an inch away. Toss that right to the side. And again, we've got our line here going all the way straight across and then all the way up. You'll notice I'm not even using the rotary mat as my guide. I'm just focusing on the fabric and making sure that my ruler is going 1/4 of an inch away from my seam line. And then I've got one more to cut. So again, that black line is going right on the stitch line. I'm zapping right in the middle, 1/4 of an inch away. And then I'm putting all of my triangles right to the side because now we've got half square triangle. When we go to press, you can choose between having your seams open or you can press them towards the dark side. It really just depends on how you are going to stitch your quilt. There is no right or wrong answer. So we're gonna go ahead and do this exact process to all of our squares, and then we are going to iron. Here we go.